Okay, NuTech Lures, Cassville, Missouri. We're out here with Bo James, and he's got something new to show you.
Well, we're fixing to come out with our spinnerbaits, and we're going to have a loose head model to start with. There's a lot of advantages of it. Number one, if you look at this wire, it's totally different. Not running on the same old safety pin type setup because it causes problems. This runs on parallel lines, so the first thing is any speed you run, it's going to run straight even if the wire is bent way off center like that. See, it's totally crooked. This thing will still run straight because it seeks its own center underneath the blade, so it'll still run straight as a die. The other thing is, don't use an R-bend. This is the old coil which was used years ago, and it's still a better setup. So even if you have your line get wrapped around your blade arm, it can't pinch itself in two because it just goes down in that slot. It doesn't have anything that crosses over. The other thing that coil does for you is it adds more vibration to the spinnerbait because it's like a spring. And this wire is actually only 32 thousandths wire. And it's going to make your tackle box a lot less cluttered and more versatile, is because you use your same new jig head on the spinnerbaits. Just remove that clip.
And so, like everything else we do, this is built on physics, and
slide the head off, you're in business. So you can change your colors, weight sizes instantly. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, 32 thousandths wire, fish are going to tear it up. Well, I want to show you something. I'm going to hook this.
Before you do that, you want to see it show how it springs back? Oh, it so will. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hook this in the back end of my pickup here. And I'm going to back up here, and I'm going to lock this reel down and pull till this thing breaks. I'll pick that up there, Shane. See any damage to the spinnerbait wire? It looks virtually just like when we started. And that's because of the technology and the bend of that thing. So this stuff that, and I wanted to show you something else about the knot that I tie. I've told you guys about that. It broke in the main line. That knot holds over 100% of your line test. The line broke, not the knot.
Correct.
So there's another demonstration. That is the best knot to use.
So talk about how this is built on parallel planes and not single angle planes.
Well, that's why your standard spinnerbaits, they're so hard to get to run straight, is because you got the same problem with your jigs that have the center base weed guard. It's a single angle plane and you're compressing it from two sides, so eventually that spinnerbait's going to twirl over on its side and try to travel in a spiral. But when it's running on parallel lines, it's not going to do that.
And no matter how out of tune it gets, it's always going to seek itself center.
Yeah, run straight.
Now,
the other thing is with this loose wire, this thing, you can run it so extremely slow, rolling it, you can run it at half the speed you have to do a solid head spinnerbait because this wire floats. It gives off more vibration because it's not attached to the head, and the head's absorbing the vibration. You're getting all the feedback out of the wire. So it's just a lot better setup. Now, we will eventually come out with a solid wire, but may not, because you may like this better. The only time you really need a solid wire is sometimes when you're fishing a spinnerbait really fast and this head is loose. It can sometimes knock out of the way because the fish are not sucking it in, they're using a swiping motion to get it. But I've caught gazillion bass on this loose head too. This bend up here, it does a lot of other things for you. Is when you're coming through really tight cover, see it spring down?
Compression.
Yeah, comes right through the hole. You can't do that with normal spinnerbait.
And that's how we were able to run this through the chain link fence on that last video we did.
And then of course the new jig head with the technology in it, it does the same thing for you hooking. When a fish grabs it, it's going to roll up and hook them through the top of the head, everything.
And be extremely weedless.
So a lot of guys have already found that out fishing with the crazy jig, that their catch ratios went way up. Once they hook a fish, they don't lose it. Where used to, 50% of their hookups came off before they got them in the boat with vibrating jig type baits or chatterbait type baits.
So as we decide to bring this to market, we're going to have it also in a tandem spin. Is that correct, Bo? And then also, what do you have in your other hand there?
This has been a killer here on Table Rock for years. You guys don't know it, but this is the actual original Black Widow. There's some other companies have called their spinnerbaits Black Widows since then, but this is the original one. And you can't believe the vibration of this thing. It's just at 30 feet deep with this half-ounce head, and it's just feel every turn of the blade. And of course you can fish it through all the submerged treetops and whatever. And I've actually, when Fork was back when it had hydrilla in it, I'd catch fish in the daytime on this thing on a cloudy day out of Lake Fork, slow rolling it over the top of hydrilla. Those big bass just come up out of there and just inhale it. So anyway, there you go. They'll soon be available.
And in our next video, what we'll do is we'll do a side-by-side comparison against some of the top leading spinnerbaits.
Yeah, we'll do a little pool time running them.
And I know a lot of people are going to think that 32 thousandths wire is just too thin, and it's not. And what it does is it gives it a whole lot of action, and we're going to prove that and show that to you. Looking forward to it, so stay tuned. NuTech Lures, that's our at.